अरू बसे छैन नि
Of course, there are other questions that can only be explored by studying
मिल्दैन फेरि हेर अरू के भन्छ so many people छ त्यहाँ
both in seafood and in the wild. Our combined research gives all of us a better understanding of the world and the places they live.
And that's what I call working together. Research flowing in both directions. From our parks to the wild, and that together means everyone benefits. Wow, now isn't that a lot of questions? Well, believe it or not, we get them every day.
We sure do. And to answer your question, orcas communicate with each other using all sorts of vocalization. Let's take a listen to some of those sounds.
Each ecotype and each pod has their own unique set of calls or dialect. Another way they communicate is by using their body, as demonstrated by this pectoral slap at the side of the pool. When a whale uses their body to slap the water, it creates commotion both above and below the surface. And that may make some of you wonder, why do whales jump? Well, guess what? I just so happen to have that emoji. A jump like that is called a reach. It makes a sound on top of the water. This can be used to show their excitement, maybe display a little power, or even to get the attention of the other whales. Other ways they communicate is by blowing bubbles, bumping into each other, or even scratching each other with their teeth, causing rake marks. Rake marks are the multi-line marks that you may see on the skin of whales or dolphins. This is just one of the ways that these animals communicate with one another during social interactions, both here at SeaWorld and also even out there in the wild. We've just learned that orcas communicate with each other by using vocalizations and body language. But do you remember how we communicate with them? That's right, with signals. Here at SeaWorld, we communicate with our whales every day, and we want the next generation to be able to do the same.
Now this is my favorite part of the show. We have two pre-selected volunteers down at the side of the pool with our trainers. We're going to show them how we communicate with the whales using signals just a little bit more. Now closest to me, we have Alex, who's going to be feeding Tuar. And across the pool, we have Tiana, who's going to be feeding Cayugan. All right, now let's start with a greeting. How about you give the whales a nice big wave hello? Awesome! Now that you've met the whales, let's try one of those mimic behaviors. Go ahead and spin around in a circle, and let's see what the whales do. As you can see, they're mimicking you by spinning in a circle as well. How cool is that? Before the show, I met with these volunteers and taught them one more secret signal. Are you guys ready to find out what that was? On the count of three, let's show them. 1, 2, 3. That's just a friendly reminder that Chandler Theater is a 24-hour splash zone. We want to thank our volunteers today by presenting them with this whale tail necklace with the memory of meeting Cayuga and Tuar today. Let's give them a nice big round of applause.
Great job, kids! I think we have some future animal trainers on our hands. And that reminds me of one of the most important questions that we get asked. Has having had an orca breeding program here at SeaWorld benefited whales in the wild? Absolutely. Our successful breeding program has enabled us to determine the developmental needs of pregnant mothers, newborn calves, and young whales. This information is so critical because this is the time when orcas are most vulnerable out there in the wild. Gaining this kind of knowledge is only possible through the research right here at SeaWorld.
We've had 30 successful orca births throughout our park since 1985. In fact, our two youngest females, Sakari and Kamea, were born right here at SeaWorld San Antonio. We have learned so much from them and will continue to share what we've learned for the past 30 years to better care for and understand orca challenges around the world.
Recently, SeaWorld worked with researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, to help them develop a model for identifying when a blue whale is pregnant by looking at aerial images of the animal in the wild. Prior to this cooperative effort, where SeaWorld provided direct, unparalleled access to our pregnant whales, researchers had no solid way of knowing whether or not a female in the wild was carrying a calf.
And that brings us to my absolute favorite question. Who takes care of our whales? I love that question because it lets us give you a peek at just how much we care for these extraordinary animals. So Allie, are the trainers almost ready?
We sure are. Now these next behaviors are some of the most important ones that we train right here at SeaWorld. They're called husbandry behaviors, and they allow us to take care of the whales by monitoring their health. A great example of this is called a fluke present. You can see Chuar is demonstrating this beautifully at the side of the pool. This is where the whales will lay back and present their tail flukes in this nice calm manner that allows a member of our veterinary staff to get a condition blood sample from the underside